Hello, this is Darius. Welcome back to Moonlife Astro. Today we're getting into the astrology for the upcoming week, August 27th through the September 3rd. So basically, we're already in eclipse season. And then on the 28th, we're going to have Neptune sextile Uranus. Saturn will re-enter Pisces September 1st. We're going to have Mercury enter Pisces on September 2nd. And then Mercury is going to square Uranus on the 3rd. Jupiter is going to trine the North Node September 3rd. In the mix, of course, we have the Labor Day 3-day weekend in the United States. And don't worry, I'm going to take you through each of these pieces. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. I always appreciate your support. Some of you may notice I'm not wearing my glasses. I have new contacts. So hopefully I will be able to get through this without having to pick up my glasses. I do like having my new contact lenses, so it's pretty cool stuff. This week is actually really about encouraging visionary downloads. And in some cases, we might even experience some timeline jumps as well. We have transits that are encouraging us to have a breakthrough, support the emergence of radical intuition, new creative ideas, and some quantum leaps. So this is the Neptune. So Neptune is the imagination, our ability to vision, our spiritual journey in some cases. So it's going to be in a supportive sextile with Uranus on August 28th. So this can help us connect to our dreams. Uranus is disruptions, the unexpected. So it could lead to a breakthrough, maybe in a vision that you have for a project or a relationship that you're working on. This could bring to the surface big ideas. So this energy is great to use for dream journaling, potentially soft launches, potentially inspired pivots. Or you might have a download on maybe your next offering, something you want to look at for 2026. I know a lot of solopreneurs are already beginning to plan for their upcoming year. So maybe some new offers are coming to the surface for you. Maybe you're thinking about a particular pivot you might want to take next year. So this could be a good day, or the days leading up to it, or even the day after. You may have some time to sit and do some journaling and some visioning around that. Maybe even make an actual vision board or a vision map if you'd like to do that sort of thing. And now on September 1st, Saturn re-enters Pisces. And I'm probably going to do a longer video about this as well, because it's kind of a big deal. Some could think of this as a return to spiritual discipline. Saturn is about boundaries, timekeeping, structure. And Pisces is dreamy. And it's a water sign. So we can be very emotional with Pisces. And so Saturn was in Pisces from, I believe, March 2023 until May 2025. So it's now re-entering Pisces. And it's going to be back in Pisces until February 2026, right around the time that we have the next eclipse series starting. So I think it's interesting that this is actually happening during the Pisces Virgo eclipse season that we're in. I did do a separate video on the eclipse season, so definitely feel free to check that out. And so my intuition is that Saturn being back in Pisces, it's about revisiting our boundaries, and where we're growing spiritually and how our businesses reflect that, how our projects or a mission that we're working on reflect that as a solopreneur, as a creative visionary. And this is also an opportunity, any retrograde is an opportunity to clean up what didn't get done before. So if you have a project or a relationship that has unresolved issues, if you need something to go to the next level that didn't get done between March 2023 and May 2025, this time between now and February 2026, Saturn in Pisces is giving you the opportunity to take another look at that, to take another look at that project, that relationship, that idea. Maybe something that you started between March 2023 and May 2025. Maybe it's time to take that to the next level. In my case, I began this journey of being an astrologer around beginning of 2024. So now I'm going to be going to the next level with my YouTube channel over the next few months. And I'm also looking at different ways of doing my newsletter and my Substack. And I'm also looking at some online offerings I like to create to people create for folks as well. And that does remind me, I do have a new paid Skool membership. It's only $9 a month or $50 for the whole year. There is a free 7-day trial. Right now, what I have in it is a weekly Q&A that's included. That's every week I show up so people can ask me questions about the transits, astrology, and then I will be developing other things for that membership over the next few months. And so if you have ideas about things you'd like to see, check it out. Feel free to join me. I'd love to have you in that space. And I think it'll be really nice to have a community of people who are like-minded and who want to talk about these things and just dive a little deeper into the astrology, or even just how to work with certain tools, more productivity. And I'll be able to have the time and the space to do that sort of thing in a paid membership in a way that I don't really have the luxury of doing on YouTube right now. But again, Saturn re-entering Pisces, looking at also your emotional resilience. Because 2025 has definitely been an opportunity for all of us to develop emotional resilience. And so if we can keep working that muscle, learning how to bounce back from the emotional upsets and the things that cause anxiety and fear. There's so many things changing all around us. Structures are falling apart. And that is against, of course, against the backdrop of Pluto being in Aquarius. And that's going to be happening for the next 19 years. And hopefully, though, in the next 4 to 5 years, I'm hoping that'll be the most intense part of a lot of the falling apart of the structures that we're used to and that we're seeing. And then I'm hoping that that will eventually level off, um, or we'll get to some sort of sense of homeostasis. But at the end of the day, none of us know what's going to happen. So we just need to keep showing up to the best of our ability, being the best that we can be in our communities, in our businesses, with our family, with our friends. And I'm hoping that we can learn to use the astrology to help us do that. So this time with Saturn being in Pisces, this is a great time to look at, are your practices sustainable? Are you grounded in your own mission? Or are you currently floating in overwhelm? A particular planning tip, create some margin in your work schedule. Like if you're working on a particular project, I know some people are working on building apps, or if you're creating a new online course, if you set aside initially 2 hours to do deep focus work, maybe give yourself 3 hours. You may need more time just because sometimes it's harder to stay focused when Saturn is in Pisces. Just a suggestion. Mercury enters Pisces September 3rd. So Mercury in Pisces is very non-linear thinking. I actually have a friend who has this placement, and I love how she communicates. She feels like communication is her weakest area. And on the surface, it could seem like that's how Mercury in Pisces would play out, because Mercury is about our thinking, how we communicate, how we digest information. Pisces is very um, floaty, nebulous, not very concrete. And so at first, I could see how it feels like there's a struggle to communicate clearly if you have Mercury and Pisces in your birth chart as a natal placement. And as we're going through Mercury and Pisces in the next few weeks, it may be more challenging to find the words. You may need a little bit more time to put together logic around ideas or projects or proposals. So that's the challenge with Mercury and Pisces. But what's beautiful about it, and what I love about my friend who has this natal placement, her ability to communicate, to bring ideas together that no one else would come up with. She has a gift for visual images and putting them together in a way that is completely unexpected. And I love that about Mercury and Pisces. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to give us that ability, that we can tap into the more dreamy, nebulous side of our communication, being more in touch with the emotional intuition that is guiding our communication. It's another way of being able to speak from the heart, but in a more mental way, actually, because I always feel like Pisces is really about the imagination, the fantasy, being able to tap into that, being able to tap into that vision. So you can bring that element to your communication as Mercury travels in Pisces the next few weeks. So this could be an excellent opportunity for channeling content, or even dreaming up a new offer. And now September 3rd, Mercury is going to square Uranus. So again, Uranus, disruption, breakthroughs. Again, Mercury, how we communicate, how we digest information. So when they come together in a square, it can be a little challenging. It could create some tension. It could also bring to the surface some sparkling flashes of insight. On the collective, there may be surprise news announcements. So maybe look out for that around September 3rd. There could also be potentially tech glitches, communication, computers might run a little slower. You know, we might have a mouse outage announced. Let's hope not, but if that sort of thing happens, that could be Mercury squaring Uranus. You could also feel mentally overstimulated, maybe pulled in a lot of directions. So if that happens, slow down, take a breath, and check in with your intuition. Figure out what is the next step, or what is your intuition calling to you to be the next step. And it's also an opportunity to release perfectionism in how you communicate, both of these transits actually. And in a nutshell, don't rush contracts or launches around the 2nd or the 3rd because of this energy. It can be a little on the unstable side. September 3rd, we have Jupiter trining the North Node, which is a very supportive transit. Jupiter is about opportunity, abundance, expansion, and the North Node, our soul's purpose and our destiny. This is a transit that could actually potentially open doors that are aligned for long and term impact. You may find an unexpected opportunity comes to the surface for you around September 3rd. And if it feels like a good direction for you or your business, then, absolutely say yes, even if it's something that stretches you outside of your comfort zone. But this could also be an opportunity to revisit or relaunch something from early 2024 that you had put on the back burner. That Jupiter trining the North Node, our destiny node, the node of fate, as some refer to it, there may be an opportunity to take the next step in that direction to where you want to go with your purpose, with your business. And also, of course, I want to remind you that we have officially entered eclipse season. That was right after the new moon in Virgo. And I want to remind people that the challenges that come up with the eclipse, eclipses bring us to our next step, our next place in life. So if we're off course, if we're not on track for where we need to go, the eclipses will put us back on our soul's track, what our soul believes is the correct road for us to be following. So if a challenge arises, remember that you're being trained for your next opportunity, your next up level, not tested, being trained. Labor Day is going to be September 1st. So this could be a symbolic pause, a rest. I always say eclipse season is a great time to rest as often as possible, especially on the actual eclipses themselves, which will be this year, September 7th, September 21st. I believe they're Sundays in the US at least. So that's kind of nice if they happen on a weekend. Hopefully you have some downtime around that. If you can clear your calendar for those weekends, I would highly recommend it. Eclipse energy is usually very unstable. You might actually have little literal power outages in your neighborhood or at your house during that time. Some of that happens during eclipses. But it really is an opportunity to slow down and to reset. And so we get a preview of that on Labor Day. So this may be an opportunity for you to look at what's dissolving, what's coming in for you, and what's being released. Is there a sacred shift that you feel coming up? So these are just things to meditate with maybe on September 1st, if you have the time. You may be running around with family, you may have holiday plans. And if you do, definitely enjoy yourself, have a good time, and just pace yourself. Because when we're in eclipse season, like I said, the energy is very unstable. And there could be surprise announcements throughout the entire month of September, honestly, with some of the other things happening in the world. So if that is what's happening, if things knock you off your center, give yourself permission to do what you need to do to get back to center. The self-nurturing, the self-care, the therapy, the shadow work, the healthy exercise, the healthy eating, drinking your water. I'm going to continue to remind people to do these things, mostly because I need to remind myself to make the time and the effort for these things. So that's basically it. Not too much happening this week, but there are significant things happening this week. Like I said, I'm going to do a longer video on Saturn re-entering Pisces. That'll probably come out next week. And I'm also going to do next week a video on the actual Pisces eclipse happening September 7th. And of course, I'll have the astrology for the week coming up next. Please do join me in my Skool community. There will be a link below in the comments. And I would love to get to know more of you who follow the channel on a regular basis. If you do like my messages, please do subscribe to the channel. It does help me get the message out to more people. Please do like this video as well if you receive value from it. Again, that also helps me get the message out to more people. And we're going through really challenging times. And I think it would be great to have more people to support each other as we move through these challenging times together. So this is why I created a community, and I would love to see you in it. And with that, easily yours, Therese.